request to Chair of the Board, Mom Charlie, to welcome us all.
Thank you. Thank you again. Guided by this agenda. We want to also to fight the issue of job creation. We understand the current state that we're in now, we're currently turning to the unemployment. So one of our key focus areas that we want to focus on the issue of job creation. We also want to focus on the infrastructure development as the focus for driving the national agenda. So as a country of the building development, we are regulating the professional councils within which we are operating on, and we are guided by this act. So we have under the built environment professional councils under our built environment act. We've got the engineers, we've got the property valuers, we've got the architects, we've got the town planners, we have the engineering council. We also have recently have some partnerships with 3 professional bodies within which we are collaborating working together with them, which is the environmentalists. We also have the CGSA, the GC, what is it again? And surveyors. And that these are the 3 professional bodies that we are collaborating working together. So on behalf of the council and the building development, we are really honored today, and collectively we want to drive the agenda for the national government nationally together in ensuring that we bring forth what the council for the building development together with our professional council. So with those few words, I really want to welcome you. We are really glad that you have taken the opportunity today that you have us and we want to give you the platform and to guide the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Members, the tricky part that was done to us is that when we entered, we were taking down to basement. We could not even see the building properly. Because these ones are professionals. We wanted to see their building, but we had to keep quiet. We are visitors. We wanted to see how proper the building is, even though we are not professionals, but it looks like indeed it's a proper building. I'm not sure whether you own or you have leased.
We are listening. Currently, we have different public works. Council took a decision that we must establish a city house. And that building will be a demonstration with theories that we preach to others. So the process is currently unfolding. It takes long to go through the needs assessment, through the issues. Things like CIO to have the home for all the building. For currently check the city, we are starting to the place. So if I were to into all the councils of the country, yes, this will be experienced with the and so I think the idea which has to think of that we need to have one more implement all this climate change ideas, new design, practice, this is pretty poor, which is on how we can do it. So that's really the process.
But you can't have a blank check. You're not even telling us. You're saying it's in process. You're not giving us your blank templates. We thought because we are professionals, you're going to tell us we started and we're anticipating to finish it in this way. This time, yesterday you accompanied us to South. We thought you were going to be a champion yourself because we are professional. And the idea that we're talking about is the same as what we've been presented at South. So we think maybe it will be a discussion for another day, but we are hoping for you to give us that commitment. And it must be accurate. You can't be like others who start a project, it does not end. It takes 5 years, 10 years. We believe you can do it within 2 years because you're professionals. But nevertheless, allow me to give you an opportunity to present, talk to your presentation. Members don't expect it to go slide by slide. They must talk to main issues that we are looking for. Mostly it's their challenges because we are the legislation, we are dealing with legislation. What bottlenecks does it bring you come across as an entity that stops you to do other things? You know, mostly we're facing or we get the story that our legislation is a vicious cycle. It does not allow you to unfold or do other things within a certain time. So what are those challenges as well? But we also want to understand your finances as an entity. But the rest you just give us and you see how best can we come here and assist you. By the way, I always say it and I make a point that we are not here to be your forensic auditors, but we are here to support you. We are here, we are part of you, yourself and the department. We play an oversight because we want you to achieve your mission, your objective. We want you to excel. Even us, it will make us proud to say we are overseeing on entities that are excelling, that are delivering. And by the way, when the president made a call that we must make South Africa to be a construction site, therefore it must be you who makes us to achieve that goal to be a construction site. And construction site, not just to be a construction site, but with a quality work. We are championing with this department as an infrastructure, but the only infrastructure that can be built beautiful and become even to a heritage site, we believe it's yourself who must come in. So those are the issues that we are looking forward to yourself. And as the chair of the board was welcoming us, indeed, what we have outlined, it's important and we want to see it in action. It must not just be in paper, but let's make it visible and South African must enjoy those benefits. So I'll give you an opportunity to present and Dr. Caesar, you can take us through.
Well, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think the guidance about the city house. I don't have some point there. I'm going to share the presentation with Mr. Manuel. However, Chair, just building on the points you made, I'm just going to raise 3 points. One relates to the environment day that we do in the context of the government center administration. Madam Chair, in preparing for your visit for the income administration, we undertook what we call a 20-year review. So we looked at legislation, we looked at government issues, we looked at the capacity, and we looked at the sector and its totality. So that influenced the development of our 5-year strategy. And our 5-year strategy dovetailed well with the priorities that we mentioned by the Chairperson of inclusive growth, reduction of poverty, and building a capable efficacy. So in the main, that's been what frames the work. The second point, Chair, that I wanted to raise is that arising from the 20-year review, we were convinced that there is a need for a legislative review of the built environment. And fortunately, the government, which is one of the benefits we have, which is that this work was done by the Department of Public Works in 2008, in 2014, and in 2017. There was a bill that was tabled in Parliament there was a community system led by the department, which was called Built Environment Professions Bill. That bill was really proposing a new configuration. I'm responding to raising this point because there has been questions around how can we do better in that. So that bill was going through the process, how somehow it did not go through the entire region. So that's the process that we distributed to the minister to say, let's really look at how we configure these entities that are into the sector. The second point that I wanted to raise to just to ground our input chair is the built environment footprint in terms of the academic training. In South Africa, we've got 9 provinces. However, in Mpumalanga, there is no built environment university that offers any of the programs. In Limpopo, you have Univen, and they offer some IT town training. So it's not good. So if you come from these 2 provinces, you want to do architect, you must migrate from the Cape. In the Eastern Cape, Korustu and other institutions, the measure that is unfolding there, which was the Civil University. Even there, they offer until diploma. So if you live in the Eastern Cape, you want to do BSc in civil engineering, you can't get it in the Eastern Cape. That's not offered. In Northern Cape, but now in the university, it doesn't offer any of these programs. So I'm highlighting that check is 1.9 provinces. We talk infrastructure development. There are 4 provinces in the country that do not offer the built environment programs. And one of the mandates that has been given to CPE is to ensure that we expand the footprint of the profession. And that's the reason why we started engaging with Mpumalanga University. We had a meeting with the VC. How do we support the university to start this program? And obviously, the 5-year plan is really establishing university. Equally so, we are working with the university in Northern Cape. They're still having lower numbers, so it's going to take them slightly longer to have this qualification being offered. In the Eastern Cape, I think they are more advanced. We're working with Water University to enter into an MOU with it to actually establish a fully fledged department of faculty of built environment in the university so they can offer this qualification for these kids to study BSc and all other levels. So that's the second point I wanted to mention, which it requires your support. The third issue, I think it will discuss as a CBP, is the issue of unemployed built environment testing. It's not only candidates that are unemployed. I think the minister makes a point that she wants to see construction sites. And when you drive around this country, you don't see cranes. When you don't see cranes, automatically means that our built environment professionals are not doing it. That's really how you don't have to do research. You just see what's happening in different provinces, no cranes, no employment. And those numbers, that's what we have. And I think we need to find a mechanism of ensuring that we create opportunities for our professions to practice. And I think there are programs that we are busy with different programs to assist our graduates, our professionals, so they can get into something. One of the interventions that we've learned from in the past was this issue of the professional roster system. It was introduced by public works, somehow Treasury and AG found faults. Somehow this program has been resuscitated by the Western Cape government and KZN and I think it can assist in structuring how professionals can access those opportunities. And we've taken lessons from the Western Cape who are doing it correctly. There hasn't been no findings, and the Eastern Cape is also implementing it. And KZN is started attracted towards the rolling out. So that these days, a predicted way of how professionals can work. And in that way, you can then also partner there with opportunities for that people. So if you attend that you can put conditions that must accommodate certain number of them. You can do the calculation share. That if you want to implement a project, how many professionals you can appoint for how long, and then you can link that to skills development and link it back to the training that they actually need to take. So those are some of the key points here that I wanted to raise. We are also not working with the provinces. We also work with Santa and Transnet on a similar structure, getting young people employed in various programs that we offer. Chair, there was a point that I think you made a point that actually entitled with the South Side made when we went to previous big cluster in the northern when we discovered that there was a district there which with 8 municipalities with no capacity. We have gone there, deliberation stage in that meeting. So there is a plan that we took in place with the municipality, working with minister on how we should try and capacitate the district with town planners and engineers at a central level. And then try and attract young people who must come and actually assist the municipality with infrastructure. So those are some of the interventions that we're making. So we can actually provide the committee at the provincial level what is doing on each and every aspect that I'm raising. And lastly, Chair, the point that we wanted to also advance to the company is the issue of knowing how many professionals we have and knowing how many professionals that are registered with us and those that are not registered with us, how many students who are currently enrolled in the institution and how many who are candidates. So we launched in, I think, in March at GCT as directed by the then Minister the National Data Environment National Network. It's an electronic platform that will assist us in having a full 360 view on all of these professionals that we have in this state. And I think moving forward, we then start building up this data so that at least if you have to ask me how many mechanical engineers I'm able to with the check to go on the system and pull up data and we can tell you where they are, what experience they have, and whether they're occupied or they're unemployed. So that's really the data that we're building. So that takes us a bit longer. But I think we started, and I think when we presented this idea to the minister and the colleagues in the sector, they were appreciative. So it's currently live, it's the early phases, but I think we are trying to make sure that we respond to the questions. And I think the reason why is another at the time directed us to do it. There was a time when ESCO was grappling with electricity challenges, and one of the issues that came through was the capacity. So then the Deputy Minister Felix raised the question to us to say, can you guys give us available civil engineers or quantity surveyors and electrical engineers who can assist ESCO? We're not able to get that information quickly to assist the state. And I think that's the reason why we realize that there's a problem in terms of how we manage the state as well. That's why we have got this measures. So then we head over to Kutu, go to some of the slides. Some of the points I've already covered. You'll then be able to highlight some of the points just for the purposes of this conversation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson and the CEO, and honorable members. As indicated, I'm Kutuman Amel. I'll just go straight to our performance information. Chairperson, what we as CBE managed to achieve is 100%. We were having 16 targets, out of that, all of them were achieved, of which results here in 100%. The first one, Chairperson, is we all know that as public sector, we are grappling with the issue of sound governance. But as CBE, we proud ourselves with being able to achieve a clean audit for the 8th consecutive year. So that is one of the things that we pride ourselves with. The second one, Chairperson, the CEO talked about the built environment national logbook. As he indicated, we launched that at Stellenbosch and TUT. This is about knowing the demand and supply. We want to know from the universities how many students are graduating, put them in the system, how many are registered with the professions. So currently we only understand the numbers from the councils. We know how many councils are there, the ones that are registered. But this gap of the one who graduate, but we don't know where they are, but they have built environment qualifications. We don't know where they are. So this will be able to give us the clear demand and supply. When we see South Africa will have shortage of skills, this electronic system will be able to give us that. The other one, Chairperson, the third one that we have been able to do, built environment, Chairperson, we have 14% of our registered persons are female. So we still have a long way. Then one of the interventions that we have done, we said, let's build this built environment network. We launched that. What does it do? It connects all built environment female candidates to understand their issues, deal with the mentorship and networking. So on quarterly basis, they meet, we discuss the issues, the challenges that they are facing, and come with interventions. The other one is the issue of climate change, per se. Currently, we know South Africa, we are grappling with climate change issues we see, especially in the coast. And SCBE, we convene this to say, what would be the role of built environment professionals, especially in coming with the climate resilient infrastructure. We know we have those issues. How do we then, as build environment, build infrastructure that will be resilient in order to deal with those climate change issues? So we convene that there is a program of action that we have drafted out of that will deal with the issues of both. But we know that the issues of code take forever to change, but we as the built environment, we will advocate for built environment professionals when they build. They must ensure that they look at the issue of resilience of the infrastructure. So the third one, the other one, chairperson, was the awards. We are saying there are excellent work that other built environment professionals are doing. STBE, we are saying let's shine light on them, recognize them. It will encourage the issue of professionalism. So STBE, we are hosting built environment recognition awards every financial year in order to encourage professionalism and ethics and others. So those are some of the things that we are doing. Chairperson, the other one that we do, CPE is an appellate body for the built environment. If members of the public are aggrieved by the decisions of our substances, they have the right, after they exhaust all the processes within our council, they have the right to come to CBE. CBE have an appeal body that is independent. Our council members and us as executive, we don't sit in those committees. Independent, it hear appeals. After they make a decision, if members of the public is not happy with that decision, they can go and appeal the decision at the High Court. So that is the recourse that we have as built environment. The second one that we have, we realized that there were issues in terms of investigation. Normal investigation, someone complaining about certain issues that related to built environment. One of them was the issue of accessibility. They say a mall is not accessible to persons with disability. So we hear those kind of appeals, the CPE, then we adjudicate within 90 days. So those are all the complaints that we have received. We have been able to complete within the 90 days that is allocated. The other one, chairperson, we talked about, the minister talked about making South Africa as the construction site. And we are saying as a built environment at the center of service delivery. There won't be any service delivery without the built environment planning and commissioning and building. So SDBE, we came with the built environment strategy to say, how are we going to assist built environment, the minister in dealing with the issues of the infrastructure. So we have that we have been able to develop this strategy. What does it focus on? Government officials who are not registered, to say where are the gaps and how do we assist them going forward in ensuring that built environment professionals that are in the employee of the state are qualified, they've been registered with our 9 councils. So that is what we have been able to deliver on this. The other one, chairperson, is the advocate for universal design and access. We are saying, given the challenges that we have, we should ensure that public infrastructure is accessible to all the members of the public, especially the vulnerable groups. So SPBE, we started this program to say the built environment, when they are planning and designing, they should have the members of the public in mind. Sometimes I can give an example, there's a modern main lane where you find that we know that the taxi drivers are there, but when we design the mall and everything, we never understood that they need to be accommodated because 80% of our members of the public use that public transport. So as CBE, we are advocating this. We also working with the departments that are involved to say how then do we change the codes to ensure that they include those things. But currently, we are busy with the advocacy to ensure that we are aware, and even public works going forward, when they do buildings or they hire buildings, they must try to ensure that it meets the minimum standard of accessibility for members of the public. So that is what we have been able to do, Chairperson. The other one, we talked about complaints that we have, and these are the natures that we have for complaints. Chairperson, in terms of governance, we have some challenges at governance level that we need to just highlight. We have been called to portfolio committee. If you look at the legacy report of the six administration, there were certain issues that were highlighted at the portfolio committee. The other one that we have, Chairperson, is the issue of the satellite. Our South African Council for Landscape Architects is one of our smallest councils. They only have a register and administrator, so they are not sustainable. And that is what we are grappling with. There is also an issue of saying maybe they might even not submit their annual report. So holistically, together with the department, we are trying to find a solution for them to ensure that they are sustainable. The other issue, Chairperson, is just the general consequences management for our act. If one council does not submit annual report, we don't have penalties to say, or maybe there are governance challenges at council A. As CBE, we can write the report and assessment, but ultimately, even if those recommendations are not implemented, we don't have those what you call consequence management or penalties. So those are some of the issues that we are grappling with. The others were just governance issues in general. And what we have done as CPE, we managed to, with the work of NSG, we managed to get the councils to be inducted, all our councils. The 9 of them, we are busy inducting them to understand the corporate governance and the issues that they need to deal with. So those are some of the things that we have been able to. I can't touch this on this one, Chairperson. It just shows you the demographics. We believe we need to reflect the demographic of the country as South Africa, as the Council for the Built Environment. Then on audit opinion, Chairperson, we, as I indicated, we have been able to manage to get an audit for this financial year. And on budget, I think I will have to, through you, Chairperson, allow the CFO, I'm not good with numbers, might be able to go better on that. Thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members.
I can see my members are nodding. You're impressed.
Yes, very.
That's the dangerous part because you have Dr. Mia Zayed and he was supposed to excuse himself. That's conflict of interest. I can see you are not going to place, but we want to appreciate your presentation. We are waiting for the CFO or wants to do your finances. You see, already my members, there's a problem. No problem with okay, CFO, you can take us through.
Thank you, Committee Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members, Chairperson, CEO, and colleagues from DPW. It is always a very daunting task to present financial figures because sometimes it's you get lost in all the numbers. But what I ideally would like to highlight to the committee is that CD is one of the smaller type of entity. We only receive a budget of about 57.7 million rand a year. And we really started to, with the cuts, implement really innovative cost-saving measures. Through this innovation of us, we have managed to cut down, we would see on our more fixed cost of 54 million rand, with almost 4 million rand just to apply here. This has become quite a daunting task, considering the fact that if you are out there and you are making your South African citizens proud of you, that the increase in scope obviously also starts coming. So you need to respond to the increase in scope with funds that you have available. Now, Chairperson, we currently have a disaster that happened in George last year. Now, there's an outcry from the community to keep professionals responsible and accountable for situations like that. For the CBE to do such, we need to start really strong arming on our investigative mandate. Now, Chair, unfortunately, with the investigative mandate, you need money to pay for a proper investigation to make sure that those conflicts of interests are actually dealt with quite properly within the sector. And I also think, Chair, that when we look at our finances, I think what is creating a bit of a conflict of interest as well is the fact that CBE sustainability is mainly focused on receiving funds from both the department as well as the six councils which they oversee. So sometimes that in itself creates a conflict of interest because you cannot go and request funds from someone which you are overseeing as well. So it does create a bit of a conflict of interest, and there is a need to revise Regulation 915 that CBE currently has been using to actually look at their sponsorship and their creation. So, Chair, we have made quite a lot of strides. The current council has, for the first time in 10 years this year, approved an increase in the levies rates that we will be collecting from the six CBEPs. So, Chair, we have faced a 10.7% cut on the 57 million rand budget. Now, it does not sound like a lot if you put that into equation. It's just a mere 5 million rand. But a 5 million rand would seem like so, Chair, with all this expanded mandates and, public coming more to CBE, looking at the appeals and holding accountable these professionals, it needs us to invest in our fund for protection of the public interest. Chair, we also have what we strive ourselves in is in our clean administration, and we are I don't know the great English word for it, apologies, I can't think of it now. But we also strive for exceptional administration, Chair. So we do believe that this 8th executive or 8th consecutive clean audit will continue to build on that. So that while we are having this, when we are continuing building on that, that it builds public confidence. And by virtue of building public confidence, it also builds investor confidence. Although it might look like a small drop in the ocean, it is items that we need to consider when we are considering our finances. Chairperson, I think what is also quite important from a financing perspective that CBE needs to look at is the built environment national law. So, Chair, for us at the moment, it is needing a huge gap. Not just from a professionalization perspective, but also to know exactly what resources does South Africa have to build on its infrastructure vision that it's needing. So currently what you have is you might not have data that is factually correct. When by the rest of the body, the database is not integrated within the database of the 6 professional councils. So, Chair, that is something that we need to focus on in the long run. and it is going to cost money. Unfortunately, with IT items, IT is one of the biggest expenditures, and if you are failing to innovate in IT, you will fail at your proper implementation of innovation in your vision. So, Jefferson, the idea with the Health Environment National Logbook is to also have an integration with the CST. So that when it does integrate with CST, and you find yourself that there is a service provider or a health environment service provider, that you are also aware of whether this person is still provisionally registered. And whether the certification that they have still is compliant to ethical, they're still compliant to the ethics of the environment, having an ethical conduct and not causing major overruns, or coming in on a lowballing a tender price to make sure that when they are lowballing, they're actually getting that tender. But then the idea is, as soon as I have my foot in the door, I can start getting overruns in that project. So through that mechanism, CBE can start monitoring the expenditure and overruns and holding these professionals accountable as well through that. So it's not just about focusing on both environment, national logbook, but also to focus on that. I think, Chair, lastly, what I would like to highlight is just a small review of the age demographics of the professional councils. You would see that we are faced with a profession that is aging. And we need to make sure that the feed-through coming from those aging of the professionals, that we build the capacity to make sure that there is timely overhanding of projects to people, and to make sure that we respond to that process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Just to conclude our submission, Chair, we really want to submit that the performance that you see, Chair, our focus has been in order for us to gain credibility, let's do things right. It's when I joined CBP and the executive was here, that's here. We said we can't have the clean body performance on the event. So that was one practice. Second practice, but to say, people will ask us, what does this clean body do to the mental department? So our fortnights like to change. We are now trying to work with communities, trying to expand ourselves with the capacity we have, trying to basically justify the clean audit. And people must then speak on about us, not us saying we want to do. So that is why in most cases, Chair, if I was looking at the pictures in my children against sleeping, I wasn't great. I'm being honest, the grace in perspective because I demand of my colleagues, and we always ask ourselves, how can we implement that we do to respond to the mandate that is ever changing and the kinds of challenges that requires us to innovate. And one of the first things that we did when we came to this building was to walk across to public protector and say to them, when we issue reports, was the case that we should discuss with them, was I think you know to this area in this building. So we looked at that report and we said to them, look, we know that some of the professionals in the data around the way you are investigating cases. You look at the market administration. And when we interact with my colleagues, I ask them, so how do you know that this area has not they decide the media, decide what you see. Because professionally, you can find that when the stadium was constructed, there was huge establishment to be undertaken and we were going to develop quantities, but we don't say the organization. And we said, we have a mandate in the city that we must protect the public, and where the public protected. Can we find the things working, we can support the work that you do, and also our ability to do what Sarah's ability to investigate capacity, but you need professionals to assist you. So there are different ways of trying to respond to kinds of mistakes, and we might not do everything, and we are trying to discriminate in the structure. But at the same time, I want to show that we can come to the point and say there are no irregular expenditures, all our costs are up to date, and then hold us accountable. How does this translate to the real experience of our communities or members experience about the way that we see? Thank you much.
Thank you. Members, it's your time. Can I see by show of hands? Members want to engage. I'm not gonna do the part of everybody. If you don't have a question, it's fine, but if you raise your hand, you have a minute and a half. And I'll start counting when I've told you who's starting, who's not. Can I see hands? It will determine. Or then it's gonna be 1.5 because Mongo saying, oh, when I'm gonna raise, they're not raising. Let me start.
Thank you, Chair.
Which but will be the third one. Then will be the fourth, then when I will be the last.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have concerns about your APP that you presented today. And my concerns is not about your ability to actually do the work. I'm very impressed with the way you are managing this huge portfolio with such a small budget. My concern relates to the fact that you are unable to get funding. And I think you've come up with a proposal where you've asked for Section 515 to be reviewed. And I think in that respect, Chair, we need to help the team here and find a quick way in which to do it. I think that there's a myriad of opportunities that you have where you can raise funds and seek sponsorships, etc. To run a big department like this with a budget of 57.5 million rands, is that a month? That's what a year. And to look at the output that they have, it's really unreasonable to expect anything more. So we are here to assist you. The second issue that I'm just concerned about is we cannot allow the essential entities, and we've seen what happened in George, to be weakened because of budgetary constraints. And that is the reason that we are here, to assist you in finding innovative ways. I just want to end with one point. I think there's a lot of empty space here in this building. You know, if we're using a small budget, we're going to try and save at every turn. I see we're even using the cheapest, most unreliable water available as well. So if we've got space that we have that could be let out, are we not looking at those opportunities? I think, Chair, at the next presentation, what the team needs to come up with is the clear plan of how you can actually raise money, use the 57.5 million as a sort of a springboard to raise more money, just to allow you to take your budget to 500 million. Thank you. But well done, please. Team, well done.
Thank you very much, Chair and DDG. Now, I just want to add my voice as well here and say that we are so much impressed with the 100% package that you've achieved. It's very encouraging to hear of such. Another thing, the 14% of women, I just want to find out as to what plans do you have in place, what strategies do you have in place maybe to ensure that we've got more women. And also, you mentioned the fact that there's 4 provinces that cannot offer this program. What is the anticipated time frame that you have in terms of ensuring that this is provided for? Why I'm saying that is because we believe that the government should go to the people, services should reach the people. So I just want to find out as to what time frame would people have. And yeah, I think, okay, the last point is the resiliency of the structures, especially along the coast. The rains is in started. What plans do you have? What do you have in place to ensure that these demolition of structures caused by floods are not happening again? Thank you.
Members, I'm not going to stop you. You can hear the
What did I chicken ask?
Thank you, Chairperson, and I just also want to echo the congratulations on the 8th consecutive clean audit. I think it's very commendable. I also want to say, if you have a look, Chair, at the building we're in, at the professionalism of the staff, this is what government should look towards and should try and aspire to be like. I don't feel like I'm in a government environment. I feel like I'm in a private. I'm not talking about the building, I'm talking about the environment. So well done. I would have liked, and I'm sure there probably is another document to this, I would have liked to have seen a breakdown of your programs and your KPAs. I don't know if there was something shared with us that does talk to that, because I'd like to see what your KPAs are and how you guys are, setting targets for yourselves and achieving it. I also wanted to find out, does that other document perhaps contain reports from your sub-councils? So obviously there's a lot happening underneath the people we're sitting with here today. I also noted, I think my colleague, Honourable Reddy, that 57 million rand you guys can't use to make more money. You're spending 81% of it paying employees' fees. So I did note that your cost of employees gone from 61% of your total budget to 70 to 81. What are you guys doing to manage that? I think that's quite concerning. And then lastly, I would also really like to see a breakdown of your registration of the various professionals, but broken down by profession, their registration status, age, and sex. I'll end there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let me say congratulations on the board achieving 10 audits and
You think you are talking to us?
am I talking to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't blame me, blame the institution. Okay,
Please.
yeah. No. I won't go there because my minutes have been gone. The area I want to speak to on. The first one is aging professionalism. If identified a problem, then what's the plan? This goes with the issue of penalties or powers on non-submission. If identified a problem, what can be done? It just those two areas. The last one, the George disaster. It's an issue that as a committee we're working on it. Hope that when we visit George, what we'll be visiting George, and I hope Chair will speak to that. We'll let you know that it will need to be linked on the part so that it doesn't break the name on this dynamic and evolving environment. So, thank you so much.
Is it me? Sure. No, thank you. The CEO, the grade comes with time. And once it sets in, it doesn't stop. No, I just wanted to speak to. I wanted to speak to a few things. One, it's the regulation. So I'm glad to hear about this logbook development. I wish it would catapult all the way down to the guy who lays the brake. Because we need to get a register of who are these people who are working so that we can have them, in the financial services. They are not able to develop financial services like insurances, UIF. They're not able to develop those things for those people because there's no registry of who they are. So we don't have a database of who we are servicing, and they cannot therefore regulate how they're going to organize their financial services. So that's the one thing. And then also, I think, Chair, one of the major things that we have to do is to have a state-owned IT so that they're able to develop these systems for us. Because the reason why they're not able to do this is because they're extremely expensive. Mentally. about. Two, the idea of regulation also, I know some people say that it's over-regulated, but I think it's at an approval, at an administrative level. But on the shop floor itself, on the ground, there's no regulation. I'll give you an example now. With your geotechnical services, they come either last or they're not. I promise you now, on the ground, that's what happens. They'll give you a report, they'll give you some kind of paperwork, but it's not that because we're not monitoring the work at the shop level. And that's something that we need to look at. How do we regulate these processes so that everybody is compliant? And then three, it's for you, DDG, while you're here. You know, we're losing Durban, we're losing Joburg, in fact, we've lost Durban, we've lost Joburg, we're losing all cities. PE has now come onto the fray. It's now time that I think PW and DPWI take charge of those and become the landlord so that we're able to refurbish. It's finished, yes, I'm finishing now. So that we're able to refurbish and employ more people, and then we can accommodate all these other entities. Thank you.
There's a provocation on my way. You've been provoked by your colleagues. And you know what? It's bad. Because I'm not going to give you a chance. I don't think you're going to be.
This is part it's very simple, but it's intense. Not that you guys do. It's not peaceful, as you said. Both seconds. Okay, just what?
You tempting.
No. So let's do this here. It's just that, I've been looking at all the annual reports that we've been seeing so far. And I'm just wondering, where's the details about things like board remuneration? I served on a board before. And I know that
thank you. What is that?
It
is in the report.
Is it in the report?
Yes.
It's a report.
No,
you said not specifically, but you have the actual.
The ones that have been sent to us.
You'll get it on that one. Let's talk then. One, the issue of an IT company. What is the sector productivity? Maybe what needs to be done is people will see where the chair election. So on that one, let's not don't even attempt to respond to that. I want to applaud you as well and join my colleagues in saying your report is good. Your consistent audit outcome as well. But as you said, does it touch lives in South Africa? To be honest, you might find even people who want to look at actions, they're not even aware of the secret. It's only because you focus on going to higher learning of institutions. You don't get the exposure of talking to general. We spoke, Doctor, to say we've got constituencies. Maybe we'll start thinking. Each and every member has got a program, maybe we'll start talking to general. You, in your report, it also shows the way you have labeled the decrease of your professionals, the target on its own, women and young people. That's where you need to focus. And then the specific target, in those. And while you are targeting them, encourage, you've got entities that you have just said you work with. Maybe next time when we come, we wish you to invite them. Show that we work with them. Those that you are promoting or you are asking, you are working them by hand. They must be entering the space of entrepreneurship to show that there's touching of life, there's a change in what you do. You change South African and how they become. You've got entrepreneurs today that are just there by luck. I'm not saying by default, by luck. Yeah, because they got whatever they got, but they don't understand the system, the space of being an entrepreneur. That's why you see things are not going well in the country. So we want you to redirect and shape your programs that you say, whoever that you're going to assist to identify young people, women in particular, what their head, they become entrepreneurs themselves. That's why you monitor your system. That's why you'll be proud to say, this is a program. We've managed to produce, we've managed this person you see being an entrepreneur who can stand, who can even adopt others. It's us. We want such kind of programs. You as a built-in environment of your the issue of George, yes, the landlord knows I'm going to speak to it. On the first and the second, we made an application to the House Chair. Our plan is going to public participation, or we call it
All the meetings.
I'll call it what the first and the second were planning to do, like sort of public here to understand, because then I feel that it's you guys who failed us. I'll be honest, it's CBE that deals with building. You have failed us that tragedy. If you were part of it, you had a role, it was not going to be, because you're going to want, you are going to make sure that that building does not collapse. It has collapsed. What is the story? Then, but you explain you're telling us, it's not in your head. You are unable to get everybody who gets in construction professionals. You don't even know where to the account. Then it comes back to a piece of legislation. That piece of legislation that will bind everybody within the country to say they must account to you, must know who is who, what is that person doing now, how far and what's wrong, and what is right. How will you monitor that? And that's what it needs you to provide us with a piece of legislation. And we know in some of pieces of legislation, you have a bottleneck, you have this long, dry processes together with treasure that sometimes it becomes problem to others. It's you guys, you must propose experience, how must we deal with it, how it must cover you and make you excel in your work. Because to be honest, when you said 100% target achieved, I'm not impressed. Because we have achieved in paper. But in touching lives of South African students, you have achieved in terms of your own plans of how many meetings will you hold, how many papers will you write, and all it's amongst yourselves. That 100% target, if we say outline it, which lives did you touch? Can you tell us, did you get Carol and touch a life? Bring Carol and must tell us the story. Will you do that? 100% of this. How many? And you have targeted yourself. You might find if you, maybe you might find you just did not want to tell us you have achieved more than 300%. Because we have set that target for yourself. But it's fine. We appreciate that you managed to do that. The main question, even when you were assisting us in lecturing, you said, does it touch the lives? What change does it make to the country? I would like to, before I could be part of public works and infrastructure, I did not even know the CPE. Already when I asked Nola, I thought CPE and CLTP are the same. Nola, the no chair is not the same. What's the difference? So if me, as a member of parliament from 2019, I could not understand and know this, what about
I just raised my hand to you to note it, because you're prompting me now. I think it's good sometimes to keep our conversations and discussions short. Because when we start talking too much, then we start, I'm being calm.
when we provoke?
You told me
Unfortunately,
this one,
I'm
being
the
calm.
chair.
Yes,
Yes.
so I'm being very
So I have
obedient.
to wrap up. I think I don't want to do that.
When we wrap up, let's wrap up, otherwise.
Who's gonna wrap up? Are you telling me?
No, yeah,
Not me.
I want to pay the rent.
Oh. You spoke about the rooster. Feel like it can be a transformation of your target. And then when it goes to treasure, won't it be a long run? How are you planning to make it assist you benefit, or you're still going to tell us it will take 2 to 3 years or 5 years again? Let me say this to you, this committee that in the middle of it, we want to take stock. We have came here today because of the legacy report that was left by the system administration. We did not say we start our. We've taken from the legacy report the reasons why they recommended. It means they saw that for us to move forward, we must do this. That's why we have to target. Our first oversight is to do this and come here today. Therefore, it means there was a work in progress and was prepared. We don't want, it's not a new thing. It means you studied, you've been going to a committee, you raise a number of issues and all this stuff. Therefore, we want you to have a progress. We are not starting afresh. We are a continuation of the system. That's why we're telling you in the middle of this time, we must take stock and say, we managed to deal with what we've done. And you are part of that. Things that we have raised you, who are the as individuals, but as a committee of parliament, it's not you. Because this is a public works committee that is taking from the system administration, it's just a new administration, but it's not anything. We want you to continue with us. When you go back with legislation that did not materialize, how you are going to communicate with them, come and present to us, it must be upon yourself. We want it very fast before we leave. Must have concluded it in the meeting. So I thought let me make those remarks and I really want to appreciate the effort that you are doing, but let's do more and be peaceable. The strategy of popularizing yourself, South African understanding who you are is important. I also want to end you. I don't know whether you said it's what? The one that says the left gaming.
Oh, yes.
Said that. Only 2 people. Man, it came to my thinking that you have this kind of an entity. Just to have a look where we are being housed in our party. Members, you see that place being suitable for, let's say, for members of parliament. The landscaping doesn't make you feel, and it's under public works, by the way, TTT. You have to manage those parks. When you look at those parks, are you happy with landscaping? Then that's why I go back to say, I'm really touching the lives. You are unable to touch our lives. Where we are staying, it's not even the only place that we see that is better. It's Union Building. Even in Parliament Precinct on its own, but you are the custodian of landscape. It means you don't even give it more support when it only has two administrators. How do we then expand? And our people, young people, they think landscaping does not have money. It's a job in jail for people who are uneducated. But how are we going to take it back to our young people to then fall in love and become professionals in that space? You've got many entities. You spoke about a lot. Even just campaigning, you know what? The NDP tells you about special economic zones. We are unable to complete special economic zones because we don't have campaigners. I'm from Musina. And Musina, it has been earmarked when I was there in 2011. It's a special economic zone. Till today, there's nothing happening. There, you can't attract the best campaigners. And those entities are under you. How are you assisting the country? In your opening remarks, Chair, you spoke about it. But then you must look at those entities. So we could speak and speak, but let me be honest. This country's future is infrastructure. It's upon your hands. It depends on you. Seated here. Next time when we come to do an oversight, we're expecting a bigger boardroom because we want all those entities in one place. And understand, they must engage with us, make us understand, so that we can also in our own space talk to South Africans. You know what, South Africa is a lot. That is, it's just that you don't have information. You don't have any information as a member of parliament, then you expect a person who's sitting home, even not in a rural area, but in a township, don't understand your role, don't even know the city. That's my issue. So with those few words, Mana was saying, you know what, but now you know me best. How you CEO, chairperson, CFO, and your colleagues to respond. But you only have 15 minutes to respond. Some of them will expect you to write because you have been scheduled to come and do your presentation in Parliament in a normal committee session. Then you will bring those questions when you are coming to respond. By 10 o'clock, it must be leaving. Just let me allow the comments that that's time presentation. This was start. You've read all those questions.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to the general assembly. I'll just answer from the first point where the question was, how are we making an impact to the society in terms of the reports that we are given? And that question will also be telling with the question that asks, how are we ensuring a cost-saving benefit when we have about 81% of our budget spent on personnel? Just to explain that yes, CBE is having a 57 million budget, and out of that is 8 plus that we are spending on our employees. However, if you look at our outputs, they supersede the budget that is left from the 57 because of the cost-saving interventions. What do we mean by that? Yes, we have implemented IT solutions that allow us to be able to send our teams out there and to be fully effective. Secondly, if you look at how much the transformation programs cost, that is your replacement and your structures with the goals. I'm just talking on the management point. For about 15 students, it cost us about 1.5 with the money. So if we did not have collaborations or agreements with other entities and stakeholders. CBE will never be able to do that in their current budget. I will say, for an example, we do have an MOU that was mentioned by the CEO with the Malta University, Sisulu University in the Eastern Cape. What then that MOU, what CBE does is, number one, we are addressing exactly the issue of built programs being offered in the previously disadvantaged organic communities and provinces. So in order for those institutions to maintain or retain their accreditation status, as it is legally, the institution is legally obliged to place those students. Now, if you look at those provinces like Eastern Cape, you don't have a whole of economic involvement that is happening around there. So what NCBE does is to ensure that government reinvest the money that is on their capital projects by assisting these students and allowing them to be placed by government as the employer, so that our councils, when they come to accredit, the institution can prove that they are able to place the students that they will be taking at the beginning of the year. So in that, you are addressing the communities and ensuring that the kids do not have to move from the one province to and migrate to another province. Secondly, you are also ensuring that since the institutions cannot afford to pay the students that are on the wheel, they are stipend. These stipends are then dispensed through the government projects. Now, thirdly, we have partnered up in that same one agreement with the OTP office of the province. And the DG there issued the letters to all HODs that deal with the infrastructure to say, if you are having an infrastructure project, it is paramount that you ensure that there are students attached and the IDMS contract stages are implemented, so that we are able then to support also the professional candidates as stipulated by the protocols of the CID. So that's how we then maximize the small budgets that we have, and ensuring that it does impact to the life of the youth and those candidates out there. I can come into the last one, the built environment stuff book. We take note of the comments, council member, and we want to ensure that we will be reporting to the council every progress that currently we are focusing on tracking the very same students, because we are saying we don't want them to get lost along the process. So within this year, we have ensured that we visit and we advocate for first the registration of those that are studying, so that we can even see if they are coming out. Not that we don't focus on the others. And we also have a registration platform that allows for the registration of the participants. In the next month, we will be CIDB, TPWI, CBE, we will be doing a visit on the TVETs so that we can encourage them on applying and registering, so that we can also have that data. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to the honorable members and the leadership. I'm going to focus on the 40% of women in the built environment in my response. I think I'm going to touch on three pieces of strategies that we have put in place to address that question. Through the work that CBE does, and I think it's what Ms. Kalisa was speaking to, about CBE optimally using its human resource to sort of deal with the issue of the budget. So within the CBE, which is something we're trying to strengthen as well, is the issue of research and knowledge management. So through that, we did have a research project that we did a few years ago, to understand what is the status quo of the built environment, particularly the states. So out of that outreach, we did develop what we call a skills pipeline strategy. And out of the skills pipeline strategy, we then did a pilot project that sort of was a candidacy support for students, and this was funded through the CETA funding. And throughout that pilot, we do now have a structured candidacy framework. What we want to do with this framework is for the employers of the built environment professionals to implement the structured candidacy program. Because what we're realizing, the reason you find 40% of registered persons is that there is no structured approach on how to get this person registered. So that is one of the work that CB is driving, and through the work we've been doing with CEO is to engage the provinces, offices of the premiers, to say this is the piece of work, this is the structure, this is the strategy you must use to ensure that your province is structured and you manage to develop the skills that you require and you have professionally registered person. I will admit it's a challenge to get these respective structures to commit, because we are saying it should be in your initial plans, human resource development plans, to ensure that everyone is aligned, because everyone is doing their own thing. So that's the work we are advocating for as the CBE. Then coming into the issue of women, there were a few indicators that were conveyed by CBE. Out of that, we produced a broad-based transformation strategy. And there were a few issues that were identified, and one of them was to say, as an industry or as a sector, we are not coordinated. Like I said, everyone is doing their own thing, and we had established forums. And one of those forums is the Women Empowerment and Gender Equality that zooms in on issues that are faced by women in this space. And through that, this is when we've established the Built Environment Women's Network to ensure that there's a platform for young women to network, to get the mentorship, because we realize that if women are left on their own, or any young person for that matter, they have no way to develop because they need to be informed continuously with the information, as well as the academic support that will come of that. And we've already been seeing the result of that with women and other professionals coming forth to say, I will be taking on these young girls to support them. Then going back to the skills pipeline strategy, we do have 4 models. That it's a model with 4 sections of strategies that we've said. One of them is in terms of attraction or the pool for young people to take up built environment professions. So what we do, focusing on women, we implement what we call taking girls out to work, so that we can motivate young women to understand what built environment professions are. We also do job shadowing, as well as when we do these career development initiatives or projects, we have ones that are focused, particularly for girls, so that they understand they can take up careers in the built environment. So I'll stop there for now, okay? Because we're working with built environment councils as well, so that they can implement strategies that can also attract young women into the built environment. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to respond to the question regarding the percentage amount that was raised on the professional fees. Chair, so currently the regulation is written in such a fashion that on an annual basis you need to determine an amount that is then divided by the total number of registered persons in that specific CEP or Council for Built Environment Professionals, the council. So when we did that calculation, that levy has always been 21 Rand for a registered candidate and 52 Rand for a registered professional. So we did a whole review of the fees that were charged by these CBPPs, looking at their fees in the last 10 years and their estimations. Chair, and I think that's really the reason why we need to focus on looking at revising Regulation 1.5, because you find the disparity between the councils. So some of the bigger councils pay a registration fee, or a registered person pays a fee of between 6,000 and 8,000, while some of the smaller councils, they only charge 2,800 fee. So you find yourself in a situation where there's disparity amongst collection in these councils. So really our focus on the revision of Regulation 1.5 is to move to a percentage relation, to say, listen, if your registration fee is 8,000 Rand, that you will be paying a mere 1% levy to the CEP, which then leads to out of levy of 80 rand. So when we follow what we currently have, we moved the levies from a 21 rand for a registered candidate to a 60 rand for a registered candidate, bearing in mind that that has not been raised in 10 years. And then also moving the registered rate or the levy rate for a registered professional from 42 rand to 120 rand share. So if you look at it from a percentage, it looks quite high. But when you look at it and track it with the inflation and the increases over the time, it's still below even that expectation. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
You are eating on the time of the chair of the board.
Okay, now just there for 30 seconds. Honorable Bart mentioned the issue of the cancer report. If you go to our annual report section A, it will detail all those issues regarding accreditation, identification of work, and professional fees. The true that we have challenges with competition commission. In the report are included there, all the sections of the cancers. Our all cancers report are there, but we will ensure that we avail that to the committee. Only KPIs, they are also available there, but ensure that, when we go to Parliament, it happens in the report. Thank you very much.
Before I move to the chair, we are missing the knowledge that the congratulations messages in the committee members. I think I'll convey the message to the colleagues that what they do is being recognized. Second, Chair, on the additional information, what we do is we prepare for the appearance to the next meeting. We give you more information that will submit to IGR so that it doesn't complicate in the process. So all the questions that were raised that requires the documentation, we will finish that. Chairperson, you are correct on the journalist campaign in marketing publicity. Tommy and I were directed by the previous meetings to do what is going to us. So you actually restating what I said before. So I think we just integrate that process to be proceed. The last one change I want to comment on is relation to the Built Environment Professions Bill. Tommy Machar knows the process. So we submitted to the committee council requesting the legislature to consider activating that process. So it should be easier. It's not that we have to amend the documents because they will change. There are major issues which maybe the documents are not defined. But it's a process that we can manage easily. And then the committee can see on the document that is a draft, it's good enough to talk about the presentation. It might propose some configurations, but I think the committee can then advise on how best we can. But I think the work has been done. And I think our views are this build on the tendency of the But thank you very much. And the partnership with CITAS, I think there was a question raised on how we could plan this. The national notebook has a section, and we have a concluded MOU with the CITAS. We were saying to them, can we also professionalize this level of colleagues that we do? As we train them in systems so that we can then able to train where they are. If you're trained as a plumber, and what happens to you? And so the law cases for them, but it's a build up and we have to bring friendships.
Thank you, Chair. There were two questions relating to the department. One of it raised by Mr. Mkwel, it's around the issues of the PWI taking charge of the cities. It's report. We are in that process. The minister established a technical team to deal with the issues of inner city. So what we did, what's happening now, the technical team is interfacing with the metros and the municipalities, where we deal with the properties with the view to sort of boost our revenue, our assets, to see how best to work together to sort of effect change in the city. Both the work together to see how best to work. So it's happening in digital tech training. This week we were in Cape Town, also target improving the dynamic job aspect as well. So we have a program pretty with that. I should think attention to the portfolio. So through PNT, you see their organization strategy. On the second matter is the landscapers, 10% risk around the landscaping aspect. So with that particular council chairperson, as they are struggling, they wrote to the minister, asking the department to assist the professional council with funding so that they deal with their capacity. So we are encouraging the request minister and the council to come with a sustainability plan so that he understands how best to help them. To help them in 2014, 2015, the funding was sort of, done through that branch. So they gave a sustainability plan during that time to the department. And they also projected the funding. So we assisted them, but the council collapsed. So now they need to sort of, resubmit. We assist them. But what I want to say, the last thing about all our professional councils, in terms of their funding, it won't do justice with them. They raise their own revenue through levies, through our legislation which we gave to them. So they count levies and create revenue. So it's a question of the changes in the legislation as you are suggesting to sustain their funding. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable President, and really to the Honorable Members of the Committee. We are really humbled by the acknowledgements that came through, acknowledging the work that CPE is doing together with our professional councils. We hear you, Honorable Chairperson, when you talk about the work that we do. Everything is, I think, 100%, but not impacting the people that we are within, the people of South Africa. So what we want to do, and we want to make a commitment to the programs that we have, especially the programs that advances the professionalism and also the advancement of women within the built environment. There's still pipeline strategy that we have started developing implementation, and also the candidacy programs to ensure that we are really attracting more women within the built environment professions to participate in the program. So we're making a commitment that through the programs that we have, through our strategies, we will really advance in implementing the programs that we have put in place. And really with us focusing on implementation of the APP is what will make the whole council of the built environment together with our professional bodies advance on the work that we do. So we are making a commitment that through the programs that we are currently developing, through the programs that we have, we clearly monitor and closely monitor the execution of the program so that the work that we do really reaches to the baseline and really reaches to our communities with the work that we do. And a lot of my colleagues have really answered on some of the questions that our honorable members have asked. When we come to the portfolio committee, we will make sure to deal with the questions. So on behalf of the Council of the Built Environment, we really want to take this opportunity to thank you and your committee members for making the time to come and visit us. And we will make sure that in the next visit that we have, our community members, our professional councils that we are closely working with, they are participating so that the feedback that we are getting, we are make sure that it's implemented and goes down to those professional councils. So thank you very much for really making the time to come and make that commitment with us that you are supporting us. The review of the regulation 915 will be unleash a lot of opportunities that will really help us in advancing our mandate and really affecting the built environment profession. So thank you very much to all the honorable members for coming in and making a commitment to us. I think my council member, Momudieli, but through the chapter 7, we don't have enough time for you to So we have to get a permission from them, but really is to echo the sentiments. We want together with the building environment profession really work closely together in addressing a lot of government or governance issues that have been raised. Some of them have been raised in the leadership report from the sixth administration. So we are working closely together in addressing a lot of challenges. So I thank you for you people to have the opportunity for all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Council, committee members from Parliament. My input is short, is about the funding of councils. If we cannot get councils funded, even if we get the levy, but there are statutory responsibilities that each council has. And one of them that is really, really critical, two of them that are critical, is registration of your members to make sure that they are registered, they are operating according to their ethics, and that you give their cases that you have to deal with, where members, like with the case of George, those professionals that have made or that have been found wanting, they have to, the councils have to take care of investigating and dealing with those members. So if councils are not capacitated with funding, they will not be able to deliver that. So the problems will continue. But the second critical one here is that councils have to ensure that their programs, the institutions of Ireland that are training graduates on their programs, they do that accreditation process, and it's quite involved. It's a hell of work that you have to do, and you must visit those institutions physically. And with one's council, I know they are busy now with all the institutions that are accredited with them, and they do a 3-day program. The first day you sit with the institution, the second day you sit, you have to see the premises, and the third day you have to talk to students. For you to do that, it requires money if you're going to do serious impact. So if you look at the architect, the landscape architect, obviously they have not done it. So what is it with the accreditation in the institutions of Ireland? And if I can think, the last one is the technicals. We only have TNT and we have BARTEC. For the whole, for Gauteng, for Free State, some people come here, Northern Cape, Northwest, Mpumalanga, Limpopo. They all come here. Even some students are coming from KZN to come to these two institutions. It cannot be. We need more technicals. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, everyone. Now, we just one compliment and we do have this matter for perhaps might need 30 minutes just to maybe just to make a comment and input from the Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. They're putting me on the spot. Mine is just to appreciate the portfolio committee and the chairperson. And while I'm sitting here, I'm making my notes so that when you meet that kind of stuff, we'll deliberate on some of the critical issues that you have raised, the issue of, and I've been hearing this not only in this platform, in terms of our country, to say we're having this clean audits, but there's no service delivery improvement in the country. What impact I'm making as we're deliberating, for me, I was just making note to say, when we come back, we do our APP and strategic planning, we need to make sure that the work that we do as CBE, from the inputs that we have made, we need to make that impact out there so that our existence is seen and is felt outside the country. And I appreciate the comments and commendation with regards to the performance of the organization. And as the council, I think we are willing to make sure that we also contribute to the economy of South Africa, especially in the infrastructure. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. We have come to the end of our session. The reason why we are rushing is because we're still going through other basic 2 months of children, 2 or 3 entities, so we are trying to manage time. Next time we should have the full picture and understand because there's a lot that we want to understand us. And then we need others to understand. But let me take this opportunity and want to appreciate the part that when you have challenges, budget cut challenges. The CFO, when she was presenting, she said, we are very innovative. You are not complaining. You are telling us the budget cut, but you made a means. You became innovative. Those, for you, it's not budget cut challenges, but it's innovative cut. For that fact, we want to support you. We want to support you. Who just sit and complain of budget cut, then you sit back and innovate. And we want to encourage, keep it up. All departments, unfortunately, all the departments have got budget cut. Even the department also has a very big cut. All the programs that we have. But you know, the fact that we said it's an innovative cut, you have innovated, you made means for you to work in that budget cut. It's important. So we want to appreciate that and we're saying that for us, it's as well, we understand. Therefore, let me not waste time. As I said, we have a lot that we discuss and we want to engage. We are going to join you on your next month. We have applied, we are waiting for chair of church to give us approval. We are hoping, but I think it's going on. Even though you might not approve the entire committee, but they will approve the training. We are aware that the climate change is affecting your industry. Your professionals will work with the climate change. We need to plan in the future how do we then deal with that when the time arrives. Because already you have challenges of disasters in particular in case then how do you deal with it? So we'll training will be part of it, as you said. Look at us as your partners. Look at us as your support system. Where you can say we are unable to breathe, can you give us the breathalyzers? You can give us the oxygen. Look at us not just to be your policing system, but we want to walk this journey with yourselves. With that, words, the meeting agenda cannot be closed because we'll timelessly have to engage with you and will recommend that quarterly Babukombe will meet their report and how they are working together with their sister entities, CIDP and others, because it's not them alone. How do they interact? We also want to understand that. And also, how do they pay oversight in these smaller entities that are within them? We want to understand the strategy of their oversight.